Cool. Hi. Okay.
Hey.
Um, Hi, everybody. I am with Ellen Smith today, and we just wanted to have a casual conversation, getting to know each other and learn a little bit about what we do and just share our experiences about being an entrepreneur and connecting with, our audiences. So, hi, Ellen.
Hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Yay, tell us where you are
Okay.
and what you do. It's a glorious Monday morning. It's going to be super hot again here today in San Diego. But yeah, tell us where you are and a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Yeah, my name's Ellen Smith. I live in North San Diego County. Um, I am a homeschool mom, pastor's wife. I've got three kids, ages 15, 13, and 11.
Woo.
We've been homeschooling. We just started our seventh year of homeschooling.
Uh,
And ever since, I would say, ever since my youngest, who's now 11, um, was home, I've been dabbling in entrepreneurship. I spent 10 years in direct sales, um, did really well there, got to a top leadership position in the company, loved it. But I found myself still looking for someplace or something to fill in this income gap that we all have. Thank you, inflation. So
mhm.
I was like, well, what is that going to be? And how can I still homeschool my kids and be at home and still bring in an income? And my husband suggested the VA industry, and the rest is history. So started as a VA, did really well. About 6 months in, realized I wanted to coach VAs. So started doing that. And then my VA business has evolved. So now I've niched down and I offer Facebook and Instagram ad management as well. So that's a little bit about my
Yeah.
story.
And your
Yeah.
VAs are targeted mostly towards other working or other moms, right? Who also like struggle with the same trying to, we all struggle with the whole life balance thing, of course. And I never had the blessing of having children, but I sure as heck fill my days and try to balance my life as much as I can, or else I would be a total workaholic because I don't have something stopping my day that I
Yeah.
can pick up from soccer at whatever time. So sometimes it's like I just go and go and go. So I have to also try to figure out that life balance. But yeah, so like you found this niche working with moms too. So like tell me a little bit about
Yes.
that experience and maybe what their needs were and how that evolved. It's kind of a
Yeah.
broad question, but I think
It is.
it's
It is.
really
But
cool.
it started 10 years ago when I started direct sales, because even then I had a heart and a passion for helping moms make money from home. That's what I wanted to help them do, because I wanted to stay home still. And I didn't want to think about going elsewhere, flipping my home upside down just so that I can leave my house um, and and work outside the home. Um, so it really stems from that. And then once I got into the virtual assistant industry, I realized, oh, I want to help moms like continue to do this, because you can grow and scale a virtual assistant business, and I want to help them do that as well. I can help them launch it. I can also help them grow and scale it, and that is really rewarding.
Mhm. Did you start
Because
out with another? Sorry, I think I just interrupted you, but did you start out with another like VA agency or something? Or you just personally were like, I'm just going to be a virtual assistant. I'm going to find people who need my help. However you did that, and then you realize like I'm really good at this. So I've got all this corporate experience or whatever, and and so yeah, like what was that? How did that actually start out for you? And then turning that into like entrepreneurship, you know?
Well, I knew I did not want to start it without a coach. That was the number one thing.
Yeah.
I was not going to start anything new on my own by myself, because I knew that it would take forever. Because well, you're like spinning your wheels. Anytime you start something
Mhm.
new and you start it on your own by yourself and you choose to go that route, it's going to take you a longer time to accomplish your goals, which you can attest to
Yeah.
in the website space,
Yeah.
like
Did somebody
helping.
tell you that or did you just know that?
Oh, 100%. Well, I learned that in direct
Ah,
sales, because even then, having coaching in direct sales, in specific areas, right? Whether it's personal growth, whether it's mindset, or whether it's sales
Any-
specifically,
Yeah.
it's going to take you a longer time if you don't have somebody guiding you along.
Yeah.
It's not that you're not going to get there, it's just going to take you forever.
Yeah, it's going to take forever, and thanks for sharing that too, because I feel like a lot of the times people have to go to that pain point and
Yeah.
then forever happened, and then they're like lost all that time, perhaps money is
Hmm.
time, whatever, not
Yep.
to be cliche, but they lose all of that, and then they're frustrated, and then they psychologically almost feel like they're starting over, which they kind of are in some ways, but they're not, because they have made progress over that time.
Yep.
But it's like it would be so great if we both could help avoid people from getting to that point of lost time and frustration, but sometimes they just have to go through that journey before they
Yep.
get there.
I
Like
was
there's
just going to
nothing
say
we
that.
can
You
say or
kind of,
do or convince them,
no, no. They have to, but I think that's I think that's part of the entrepreneurial journey is learning those things. You learn a lot about yourself if you choose to go that route. You learn a lot about yourself if you choose to hire a coach in
Yeah,
some way, shape, or form.
totally.
Either way, you're going to learn a lot about yourself in the process that will help shape and form your business in the future.
And don't you find too, it's funny because I think the things that people think they're learning aren't, or the things that they learn aren't the things that they thought they were going to learn. Like they think they're going to learn how to build a website, or they think they're going
Yep.
to learn how to do an ad or whatever. But the things that they learn, and
Yep.
I'm catching you on the spot here, but I think the things that they learn are like, oh wow, I really like doing this, or I really
Yes.
hate doing that,
Yes.
or
That just
learn,
happened to me.
yeah,
It just happened to me because I was I've been kind of following a model that was shown to me by another coach, and following and like I kept feeling like I was hitting a wall with
mm,
it. Like, well, how come like it's not like moving forward the way I wanted and the way I envisioned it to go? And it was because it wasn't really aligned with what I really wanted to do. And then all of a sudden I had an experience that just made me realize, okay, this is what I want to do. And this is how I want to shape it. And this is where I want to take it. And actually, my my business is kind of the VA coaching business. I'm finding that I'm paving my way forward because I'm realizing now what I want to do and how I want to do it.
yeah,
So gradually, bit by bit, like things are starting to take shape in the way that I
yeah,
envision them to take place with all that I have learned,
yeah. And to give people like an idea too, I mean, time frame wise, you're not talking weeks, you're probably talking years. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
and that's
It's
what people
been
don't
a
realize.
year, probably a year since I launched that VA coaching business. So in a year's time, I realized, no, I really want to do it a different way.
Yeah,
I want it to be more simple, which is totally in alignment with me. I want
yeah,
it to be more simple, more straightforward, and really link arms in helping moms grow. So I shifted from, this is another thing totally unheard of. Like people don't do this
yeah.
anymore, ever. I shifted from group coaching to one-on-one.
Yeah,
And sure, I could make tons more money if I did group coaching, but I don't want to.
yeah,
I
exactly.
I want to work one-on-one with people because I want to be a part of that growth.
Yeah,
One, I think they are more committed if they
for
choose to
sure.
invest one-on-one.
Yeah,
And that is the first piece of what I am looking for. But two, like to link arms with them and like watch them grow and evolve and follow the steps, follow the action plan. And like every situation is different, which
totally.
is another reason why I did the personal one-on-one thing, because the group coaching is it's kind of cookie cutter.
It can
And
be, for sure.
and depending upon how it's set up, it's like, oh, everybody goes through this and everybody does this and like, wait a second, this doesn't actually work well, depending upon their situation. And that's another reason
Totally.
why I shifted away from
Yeah.
that. But
I think everybody, you said a couple key things too. For me, like I prefer a one-on-one also, like, because I need the attention and I always feel like I think a little differently than everybody. So um I like that attention. I'm also a Leo. I don't know if the stars have anything to do with it, but Leos like attention. But I also think it depends on, like, there's also things about a group that are nice because you can also have the group to support each other in a way and give feedback and what does everybody think about this, and it could become a little bit like a mini mastermind in a way. But
mhm,
there's also a time and a place for that. But the thing that you said is you used the word shift, and I think shifting is so important because a lot of times the business that you think you're starting isn't the business that you end up with. And that adaptability, and maybe you're, you know, maybe you started out like, I'm going to do this group coaching and it's going to expand and scale and do
yeah,
all this. And then
and
you
it's gonna be
find,
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then you find like that it's maybe not as helpful to the person, or that you're not in your, you know, what do they call it? A
like
zone
your
of
zone of
genius.
genius.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you learn things about ours, and don't think that
yeah.
we're constantly learning and evolving and growing. And this coaching program was an evolution for Betsy, my partner, and I as well, because we've been building websites for medium to small businesses, and we almost felt like we were turning people away that either couldn't afford us or um you know, just didn't have the bandwidth or whatever at the time. And so we found that there is a way to support these people with the same exact processes that we do on a smaller scale, but with our support. And I think that the other most important thing is the accountability part when you do coaching like that, because again, it's not just the skills that you're learning, it's
Yeah.
having that person being like, okay, what did you accomplish this
Yes.
week, what were your challenges, what were your
Yep.
wins, and it's just keeping that motivation. I also coach 2 swimming programs. I've been a swimmer and a swim coach my whole life, and an athlete. And so, you know, it's so crazy how all the psychological experience that I've gone through as an athlete as well, and the ups and the downs, and you want to give up, and I don't want to jump in the pool ever again, or shower for that matter, like we talked about. It happens. Um, I do shower for the record. But you know, it's very similar, those psychological things. And sometimes that's why the coaching is, I don't think I could put a ratio because everybody's unique in that, but just having that person to be like, okay, you got this. And then you're going to learn their strengths and weaknesses and just support them through it. Because our families and our friends only want to hear me talk about work so much. Because I am very passionate, like you're really passionate about it. I can talk all day about it. I can talk tech. I can, you know, just brainstorm whatever. But the fact of the matter is, when I have somebody that like has to be there for me through it,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
helpful. And I
And
think
you
a lot,
invested in having them with you,
yeah,
right? Like that level of commitment. It
commitment.
it just wasn't there with the group coaching clients. And they did great. They were successful. It's all fine and good, but I realized no, like I found myself listening to them and thinking, man, if we could, like
Yeah.
if I could just talk with them more frequently, more
Mhm.
often, then I think things would be different for them. I feel like the outcome would shift, could be different,
You
you
feel like,
know?
or you know, it could be different for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Right.
it's like,
Right. Like,
you know
oh,
what it will be.
yeah. It's so, yeah. And anyway, I'm really excited about it. But I
Yeah.
want to know, how in the world did you get started with websites? Like
Yeah.
how did that come
My
about?
evolution was a little weird too, actually. I started out in school as an accountant. I did accounting and computer information systems, and I did accounting and public accounting and did that route. I worked in at the NCAA and college sports doing accounting, and I ended up becoming a little bit of a liaison between their IT department. And I really actually enjoy the aptitude of computers a lot more than accounting. but I have that left brain in me. And then while I was there, they paid for my graduate work in HCI, which is human computer interaction. And that was kind of the beginning stages of user experience, usability, how we interact with technology. And it wasn't just web based, but it was like any technology, literally from ergonomics, how we hold phones, to just the psychological color patterns, of branding and things like that. So I really became like a user experience expert. And then I started working with Betsy, and I've had a few startups in between. So much has been an evolution, but I had a couple startups. I had an e-commerce startup for a while in the handmade, like kind of like Etsy. I spent a while, years building that. I consider that my PhD. I ended up letting that go to start focusing on WordPress and
Okay.
building my WordPress experience. And I met Betsy, and we both had white German Shepherds. And I think that we probably just spent time talking about, maybe not even talking, but like showing each other photos and videos of our shepherds forever. And that was, I don't even know, over a decade ago.
Okay.
I think we feel like we've been saying 10 years for a long time. So I don't actually know how long ago it was.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and then we just joined a company, formed a company. We worked as contractors together for a long time, and then we joined a company and created Pursue. We rebranded into Pursue about 2 years ago, and just really started realizing that I really enjoy the relationship piece, because I am a tech geek, but I'm also an extrovert. So the relationships are what are so important to me. And I really love nurturing that and of people and supporting them, because my journey also, like all of us, I'm not going to, isolate myself, but it's like, it's up and down. And I've really devoted myself a lot to work. But I don't want to be a workaholic my whole life. And so I really wanted to just, like we said, be in my zone of genius. And I think that is really supporting others and supporting, um, I like working with women a lot in this capacity, in the coaching capacity too, and just being able to take them to the next level in their career and give them the tools that they need. I think technology is really frightening for a lot of people. So with our program, we're giving you the framework so that you can absolutely get started with everything that you need. And then we support you along the way to building your own website and knowing how to speak to the proper audience. And the one thing that we are really close to is launching this program and working on some Facebook ads. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, we're really excited. We're going to be launching it here in the next week or so and
Okay.
starting our first group. We are doing group coaching,
Okay.
but we want to keep the groups small. So we want to make sure that we do give proper attention to everybody. So we're
Yeah.
going to keep the group small, under,
Awesome.
probably 5 or so at a time in the beginning, so that
Cool.
we do learn from each
And
other.
how long is I guess, how long is it for? Is it 3 months? Is it
Yeah.
6? What is it?
Yeah, because we believe in setting a website foundation properly, we're not just gathering text and images and putting it together. So like, because we're giving you the entire framework, you could have a website up if you have some content ready and images and stuff, you could get something up within a week or two.
Okay.
Now, to fully go through the whole course, because it is e-courses as well as our group coaching. So we have guided worksheets and courses and everything to teach you that you can always refer back to. Um, the full thing takes probably about 3 to 6 months of weekly coaching plus your homework every week. And that is
Yeah.
because we go through every little step, from the psychology to the branding to who your target audience is, how to speak to them, how to write headlines properly, how to optimize it, how to make sure your sites are compliant, make sure you're speaking to your audience. And all these steps kind of have to go in order. But if you just have some copy, I mean, we definitely feel like something's better than nothing. So it's definitely something that you can evolve over time, and we want to get you up and present, and then we can fine tune it over time. But even photography, I think photography is something that makes a huge impact on websites. And it's like, people can know within 2 to 3 seconds if they want to work with you or not, just by even, I mean, because we all judge, right? They're going to go and be like, oh, she looks weird, or she looks beautiful, or he looks mean, or he, whatever. Like we just get these initial impressions that are like
Yep.
subconscious.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
and so it's like those first impressions and fine tuning that I think are so important. So that's really what takes a lot of the time, is putting all that work in there. And because you are in a position where you're doing it yourself, we are reliant on you to, write the copy, and we help with all of that and give you the ideas and work you through the user experience, and you have the group community to go through and stuff. So it's really cool. It's really fun. And we love it. And we have
That's
fun
awesome.
doing it. Like we're not like, I'm silly. And I think that's one reason why, the two reasons why I think entrepreneurs work for themselves mostly are so that they have flexibility and so that they can be themselves. And I think being myself is really important, because I don't like to be in a box, and I like creating my own destiny and structure in my day and everything. And I like having fun with my clients, and swear words come out sometimes. And I don't ever want to be offensive, but that's what, that's also me sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah. But I could also spend the first 20 minutes of a call also showing me photos of your pets and videos. And so I like just being able to do that and really creating the relationships that I want with the people that I want, not because I
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
Yeah.
are those probably similar reasons why you became an entrepreneur, flexibility, and you,
Oh, 100%.
yeah,
That is totally, because that's what I needed.
totally.
I was a stay-at-home mom and I wanted to stay a stay-at-home mom. And then once we
And
started
homeschool.
homeschooling, it was like, well, I definitely need that. Um, it's not to say that I didn't look outside the home, because I did. Before I jumped into the VA industry, I did apply to jobs outside the home and I didn't get a single one. It was
Yeah, isn't
like,
that crazy?
yeah.
I mean, it's so
One
crazy.
did come back to me months later and was like, "Hey, actually," but it's like, "Nope,
Well, the
I'm happy
process
doing what
is
I'm doing." But
so impersonal now. I mean, I haven't actually applied for a job in so long, but hearing my friends and stuff, it's like you have to get through AI. You can't even get in front of a person anymore. So really,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't really
yeah,
know the
yeah,
experience, so I can't
yeah.
speak to it. But
Well, that's another reason why I've actually made a little shift in my program to help them network, not
oh,
rely on a
cool.
website, not rely on social media
Great.
to do it for you. Like, no, I'm going to teach you how to network so that you can talk to clients just like this,
Yeah.
make connections and make continuous connections. So,
Yeah.
um,
Isn't
yeah,
that funny that things cycle like that? Even the handmade industry, it's like everything was handmade, then nothing was handmade. Now we go back and appreciate handmade. So it's like here, it's like we're so technology now and so social media and so used to communicating that way. It's like, wait, now we have to come back a little bit and like, oh yeah, this is how I conduct myself in person, and go to
yeah,
networking events. And that's how we met, was at a group networking
yeah,
event
yep,
too. And so
yep,
it's like, yeah, I think that's really really great, because even if it's coming back to the basics, the dynamics are always shifting, and how we handle that, so I love that piece of it.
yep,
um Anyhow, yeah. So I wanted to ask you about Facebook ads, or it's not just Facebook
sure.
ads. Tell us a little bit about the ad side that
Yeah,
you do as well, because ads are, I have very little to no experience with it, because that's not my portion, but my company needs to do it, of course. And like I said, we're about to run some, and I think it's really great. But for somebody, I can understand it's overwhelming because the audience is so large, and I know that they have tools that are built in to really help you, but even then it's like sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I get a 5% conversion, is that good? So like we don't even
right.
know how to, I don't even know what I'm reading
Right. Right.
to know it's
That,
successful or
my
not.
friend,
Yeah.
that is exactly why an ad manager is so
There you
important.
go. Okay, yeah. So
That is
tell me
exactly
about
why.
that.
I actually did a whole presentation on this, and the one of the last slides was why hire an ad manager, and all I did was put a screenshot of well, all I did was put a screenshot of the data in there. I was
Wow.
like, "Well, can you read it?
I
And do
love
you know
that.
what it
Yeah.
means?" Because if you can't read it and you know what it means, like it means nothing to you. It
Exactly. And you
means
don't know how to
nothing.
shift. I don't know, but to be like, okay, like I understand what a bounce rate is, but what do I do with
Well,
that?
and
And
like
how do I
frequency,
how
what
do I
the heck
improve
does
it?
that mean?
No idea.
What does that even mean to me? So that's what that is. That's why you need an ad manager. So if you
100%.
really want great results, you need an ad manager so that they can be looking at and overseeing the data, because the data is what helps us make our decisions. So if the
100%.
data is off, then there's something in the ad copy that needs to change. There's something in the headline. There's something in the maybe even the creative. It could be
Yeah.
a lot of different things. What is not connecting? And the data tells us exactly what's not connecting. So,
Yeah, we're
um,
data driven also with our websites, from the analytics when our marketing experts have to look at that, to the use of like heat maps and user experience tools. I mean, sometimes it literally is like moving a button up. People don't even, sometimes the changes can be simple, but we just don't even know what they are without the data. And so all we're doing is we're guessing without the data. Like, oh, maybe I should try this, or maybe I should try that, or put a survey out or whatever. But the
yep,
data, like
yep,
people, but the thing is, people don't know how to read the data. So yeah, I
yeah.
agree. That's why
And
we
I,
need
I
it.
think a lot of what, when you're setting up an ad too, a lot of that is not intuitive. So
Exactly.
yes, you could set it up yourself. You very well could. You could look at the data yourself, but it's not it's not always intuitive. Like, oh, I should choose this,
No,
as my ad objective. It's not even clearly stated ad objective, but I
no.
should choose this. It's not like that. So again, like the ad manager, a good ad manager is going to ask you what your goals and objectives are, and then they're going to set it up accordingly. They are going to, they're going to help you develop your ad copy, the ad creative. They're going to communicate. That's a
The
huge
creative
one.
meaning like the
Yep.
graphics. Okay, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
clarifying. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
And the communication piece, because it's really easy for an ad manager to put it together and then fall off the face of the
oh,
planet, and you
oh
don't
wow, that's
hear
lovely.
any. Yeah. And so I mean, I don't do that. You get a weekly report explaining like what's going on and how it's going. You always get your data and numbers uh, with that with that report.
Yeah.
You get to open it up and see all of that. And
So
then a
what's
monthly report as well, so you can see like, okay, overall, this is what we're looking at.
I love, so yeah, so you can see trends. So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
just like
and we're
data at a
talking
given
back and
time.
forth
Yeah.
too. You know, I use a separate app for that so that we have a place to chat. So
That's super helpful. Yeah. So
yeah,
like what does the investment look like for somebody? Because I think that's the other thing too that's overwhelming, is people think that they have to spend um 5,000 a month or something on ads to get a return,
they do.
or
They do.
or that it's like something that they just have to, a time thing where you just get in front of people, that it's a numbers game, which means a time game, that you just have to, the more people you hit, obviously the more leads you're going to get or whatever. But what are some myths um that people have about the and I'm not just saying the financial investment, but like the myths that people have about going through this process?
Yeah. I think, well, one we already debunked, like you could do it yourself, which arguably you could, but you
Yeah.
could also, it would
No,
be
let's say they shouldn't.
wiser.
They can, they shouldn't.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The other one would be, gosh, I had it and I lost it. The other one would be with, ad spend.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that it is a huge investment. It is an investment.
Yeah.
It 100% is a marketing investment, but it does not have to break the bank. So generally, I say $20 to $40 a day, but it really depends upon your target audience. That's why I give a range, because it
Yeah.
really depends upon your target audience. Like, who are you trying to hit? If you're just business to consumer, it's going to be less expensive. If you're business to business, it's going to be more expensive
Yeah.
because you got to pay more to get in front of those
Yeah.
people.
And there's a lot of research probably before you're even ready to run ads, I would imagine. A lot of research that you have to do to know who you're speaking with, how to set it up properly, how you want to position yourself. So I would imagine
Yes.
that also.
Well, and so I gather all of that before I even set it up. And
Yeah.
before we even do our kickoff call together, you do an in-depth questionnaire, which takes a little bit of time because that's what I'm trying to gather. Like I'm trying to gather, well, who your ideal client is, what their pain points are, all the things so that I can put together the ad effectively, right? So
Yeah.
the ad copy can come together well, so that the graphic, the creative looks good, right? Would it be better if we just used maybe a reel that
Yeah.
on your Instagram that got tons of views? We just repurpose it for your ad. All of those things are a possibility, but
But you just said the
you
key
don't
word.
have to
It's a
spend a ton.
possibility. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
all
but you don't
possible.
have to spend a ton. For example, I have a client that I worked with recently, and she only spent $10 a day, and in 4 weeks she gained 500 or more leads.
Fantastic.
So you
Yeah.
don't have to spend a ton
Yeah.
to get the return, but you do have to have the right target audience. You have
Yeah.
to know your ideal client and who you're speaking to.
Well,
Here's
then
an
the
example.
term investment too means you're going to get, an investment is because you're going to get tenfold on it. That's the whole
Yeah,
point, right?
yeah,
So we have to
yeah,
have that mindset going into it. We're not just
yeah.
throwing money out the door. We're throwing money out the door to build something 10 times or whatever, greater.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. And I think it's important to note that there is the investment for the ad manager and ad spend. They are two entities. So when
Correct.
you got to calculate that number together then in your head. So
Yeah. So tell us, Ellen, where can people go to find you on your businesses? Because you have the VA Growth Accelerator, right? And
yep.
the Simply Collective. So tell us how to contact you or where to go or follow you, and I can add it here as well. But feel free to share that.
Sure. So you can go to thesimplycollective.com so that make sure you include the. It is
The
thesimplycollective.com, and you can find information about ad management there, but also the VA Growth Accelerator. If you click on the link there, it says learn more about growing your VA biz. You click that link and you'll get more information on that.
Yay. Well, I hope that we'll be working with you here in the near future, but I love seeing
Yeah.
your face and it's been really fun. And yeah, I can't wait for like part two to get updates on everybody and how everybody's doing. So
Yeah.
thanks,
Yeah.
Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right, we'll talk to you
All right.
soon.
All right. Bye.